Welcome to Food and Loathing, a place for food nerds in Las Vegas to talk about dining in Las Vegas in a way that we hope will inspire you to explore our valley's phenomenal restaurant scene. I am your host, Al Mancini. Gemini Stevens is out this week, but the great Bob Barnes has agreed to fill in as my co-host. And of course, the engineer with no fear, Rich Johnson, is handling everything on the back end out of our Seattle offices. We're doing what will probably be a short episode today, but I say that a fucking lot, and they just seem to get longer and longer every week. But we're recording this one at my home. I only have a couple of interviews to drop into it. It's good interviews, though. But before I got to any of that, man, let's just welcome Bob. Bob, thanks so much for doing this week. Welcome to my home.
Well, thank you. I always love doing this, and I love talking about myself and places I've been to.
Well, we like hearing about you and the places you've been to, man. You and Andrew Morgan are like the guys for exploring the places where booze is served in this town. And of course, you get out and eat a lot more than he does. I know that for a fact. So anything, like what else has been going on in your life? Anything like just personally we need to know about? What's going on in the Bob Barnes world?
Well, big shocker. My wife, Lolly, booked us on a cruise to Europe.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
We've never been on a cruise together, and she's never wanted to go on a cruise, and all of a sudden we're going on a cruise.
That's awesome. When are you going?
September.
Okay.
Going to go to Italy, Greece, and Croatia.
I think I'm going to be in Italy in June. I'm hoping. Of course, I don't know whether Europe is going to be accepting Americans by June, but if they do, I'm hoping to go over for my anniversary.
Good point.
Yeah, and renew my vows. So that's awesome, man. I can't wait to hear when you get back. Croatia's supposed to be fucking beautiful.
And I'm hoping, I haven't even told him yet, but Luke Palladino is in Albania. He's doing a Vegas-style casino. He's doing everything, not just the food.
Really?
So Chef Luke, he's a great guy, so I'm going to have to let him know I'm going to be in the neighborhood.
Yeah, definitely, man. And go do some gambling over there. Overseas casinos are weird, man.
What's weird about them?
Well, some charge admission.
Admission to get in to give them your money?
I have been in countries where there was an admission charge for the casino. I have been in countries where they tax you on what you cash out, which annoyed the fuck out of me. I'm not sure if that was Panama. I don't remember where I was, but it was like they took a portion of what you cashed out, which really pisses me off because, like, let's say you bought in for $1,000 and you cash out for $900. They're charging you a portion on your loss on what you're cashing out.
So you're paying twice.
Yeah, like it pissed me off to no end. So I'd be curious to hear what the casinos are like.
What about free drinks while you're gambling? I remember years ago, I went to an Indian casino in California, and there was no free drinks.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've been to places in other countries that have not had free drinks. That's true. I think it may just be a very American thing to get you drunk so you lose more money.
We just take it for granted here in Las Vegas. That for me personally, I hardly ever gamble. Haven't been born and raised here. But when I do gamble, my whole point is to get a couple free drinks, and I feel like I've won.
Yeah, and that's the deal. People get mad that they've changed the rules because, people figured out how to exploit the rules, so then they had to tighten the rules. But yeah, man, I think if you're gambling, you should get free booze. And if Sue and I are gambling together, I'm ordering one every time, whether I'm drinking or not, so she's getting double the free booze if we're both gambling.
My wife has been known to do that as well for me.
Oh, so okay, man. We are in the midst of January, Bob. There's kind of a lull in food news on my end. So much happens before the end of every year. Everybody's trying to open up in time for New Year's Eve, do all that kind of shit. And then we get into January, and it's all about consumer electronics, porn, football players, football playoffs, and I don't really pay that much attention to that, so it's been a little slow. But you're here. I'm hoping you have a lot to say. I'm hoping you've got some booze and some beer news, a restaurant report or two.
I got all that.
Tell us about your writings. I'm also going to ask you to explain later in the show exactly what's happening at one of downtown's most beloved breweries, Huddle, because people ask me this every time I go out, and I try to give them my answer on it, but I think you're going to be able to help me out, but we're going to do that in the news, hopefully.
Okay, sure.
I'll hit you up on that. Not much on the interview front this week, but I have a nice conversation with legendary barman Dale DeGroff when he kicked off a new guest mixologist series at the Vault in Bellagio. If you're a bartender, or at least if you're any kind of serious bartender, you should know who Dale DeGroff is, right, Bob? They should know who Dale DeGroff is.
He's kind of a well-known person in
Yeah,
Doesn't he have a nickname like he's the godfather of something?
he's got a nickname. I can't remember. It could be like the king of all bars or something. Honestly, it's nuts. It's funny. Just for fun, as I was preparing my notes for this episode, I went to Google and I typed in who are the most respected bartenders and mixologists of all time, because I like to talk to artificial intelligence. It's fun for me. I have no real friends. And they gave me back a long answer, and it mentioned 10 or so people by name, the most respected bartenders and mixologists of all time. The second name they mentioned, and the first living person they mentioned, was Dale DeGroff. Right? So, yeah, it's not just me telling you this guy's a fucking legend or Bob telling you he's a fucking legend. He is a fucking legend. And when he's interviewed by a schmuck like me, it's probably not fair to him, but it is still fascinating to hear his take on bartending over the past half century or so. So we've got that coming up. But first, man, we'd like to talk about where we have been eating. And Bob, if it's okay with you, I'd love to hear you start. Where have you been dining recently, my friend?
Well, funny thing is, Al, that just coincidentally, twice in the last month, you've gone somewhere on the podcast and interviewed someone that I was scheduled to go to a few days later.
Okay.
So the first one of those was Guerrilla Pizza.
Ah, yeah, we love Guerrilla Pizza.
So, and we both wrote an article on the Food and Loathing website about our impressions of it, and they were markedly different articles, so different takes on it. Yeah. But what I picked up on, it's a Detroit style pizza by Chef Robbie Cunningham, his first brick and mortar home, and he's the only Detroiter making Detroit style pizza in the Valley.
Yeah.
So his place is at 900 South Las Vegas Boulevard near Charleston and Hoover. Actually, you enter on Hoover, and it's on the first level of Soho Lofts. One thing is nice is you don't have to pay for parking. There's plenty of free parking real close by or on the streets nearby. But I like the decor in there. They got the Guerrilla Pizza in capital letters, and in the Guerrilla section they have Michigan sites pictured within the letters, and in the pizza section they have Las Vegas sites pictured in there. So that's kind of cool. It's done by a local artist named Ricky Scott Holmes.
Cool.
They also have a Andy Warhol like Campbell's tomato soup label wrapped pillar. But I love Chef Robbie's story. It's 2019. He's bartending at Artifice, and he's fooling around making Detroit style pizzas at home. He starts bringing them in for his customers, his regulars, to give them pizza for free because Artifice didn't serve food. And then at some point, Hard Hat Lounge during the pandemic, they had some kind of law. Yeah,
they needed to have some kind of food if they wanted to be able to be open at all during the pandemic, I believe.
Right. So they hit Robbie up to start doing his. Back up a little bit. Another part of the story was Robbie would give people pizzas for free as long as they would mention him on Instagram or somewhere.
Yeah, he worked that social media scene, right, man?
Yeah, so that kind of gave him a cult-like following in a good way. So he's making the pizzas at Hard Hat Lounge, and then he kind of gets burned out, he told me, and he wanted to take a break, so he goes back to Detroit for a while, and now he's back with his own place. And he told me the essentials of well, actually, I think I got this off the podcast that he was on with you. He told me the essentials of making a Detroit pizza is having oil in a seasoned pan, dough proofing so it's almost like focaccia, cheese all the way to the edge so it's two-tone with half dough and half crispy cheese, and then sauce on top.
Yeah.
So he described it as biting into a pillow.
It is, man. It is, and he makes a good Detroit. What do you think? You spent some time at Red Dwarf. They do Detroit as well, right? So you're going to put the two up against each other in your mind?
I learned something very surprising.
Yeah.
Well, not really. He told me that he taught Russell Gardner how to make the Detroit style pizza.
Okay.
So it's really Robbie's recipe that, according to Robbie, he taught Russell how to.
Okay.
And they were gonna go into business together, and things didn't work out.
Okay, well, there you go, man. Good to know.
But the one last thing I'd say about Guerrilla Pizza is it's really got a good vegan aspect to it. They even use separate utensils, so there's no cross-contamination. And they have mostly all vegan ingredients with the exception of
cheese,
pepperoni and bacon and hot Hungarian sausage. But they have vegan cheese. They got...
but it's not all vegan cheese. You have to order
right.
cheese, yeah.
but they also have vegan sausage, mushroom, all the usual pizza ingredients that are
Right.
like jalapeno. And
So what'd you
forth.
have while you were there?
I had not vegan, but the regular Hungarian sausage, and I think I had bell pepper and red onion and jalapeno.
Good.
And
Was it good?
oh, it was fantastic.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, and good. Okay, anywhere else you've eaten recently?
Oh, a lot.
Okay, well, hit me, man.
So the next one that I went to that you had on your program
Yeah.
the week before was Butcher and Thief.
Yeah, I still have not been in there for just a sit-down meal myself, right? I ate everything on the menu practically when we recorded there, and when I've been at the bar, Corey has sent stuff out to me, but I've never done a full dinner, so I'm really excited to hear what your experience was.
Yeah, I did just that, and it was incredible. I love Corey Harwell. He's one of the nicest guys you're going to meet. So it was 11 and a half years after you opened Carson Kitchen. He opens Butcher and Thief at the Bend. I think the most important thing about this place is what he's trying to do. He told me there's the high-end steakhouses where you're going to pay like $100 for a steak, and then there's the chain ones that you're going to pay a lot less for an okay steak.
Right.
So his whole thing is to have to grab that middle market, and all his steaks cost between $36 and $56, and he's able to keep the price down because he has a 3-step cooking method. He starts with sous vide, which in a plastic bag and water,
Yeah.
cooking slow, and then he puts it on a super hot plancha, which is a flat grill, and then he finishes it on a grill. But something else he does, instead of using prime beef, he uses the high end of choice.
Right.
So it's a lot cheaper.
And that's why it's important that he treats it properly.
Right.
And that's why he goes to that extra step to make sure that, he sous vides it to bring it to exactly that center where it needs to be. And then he puts that sear on it at the very end. And yeah, they because, choice is not bad meat at all, and the highest choices are very good. It's a high percentage, but if you want to do it at a level that Corey can serve because he's well respected, you have to pay close attention to it. And luckily, there's a great kitchen team over there to do that.
The New York strip I had was as good as any I've had anywhere.
Yeah.
Another cost-saving thing he does is their best-selling item is their cheesesteak egg rolls.
Oh yeah, those babies are good, man, huh?
But the cost-saving thing is he uses trimmings from all their cuts, stuff that would normally be thrown away.
Yeah.
He pieces it all together and it's delicious.
That's like not only cost saving, but it makes it a better product.
Yeah,
And that's what's really funny about it.
You wouldn't think of having a really good steak meat in an egg roll.
Yeah. Well, here's a story somebody told me once. I was probably never supposed to tell this story, but so much time has gone by, I don't know that anybody would be mad. But there were two celebrity chef restaurants in Atlantic City, and one of them was a steakhouse, and the other one was a seafood restaurant. We know the people involved with both of them. The steakhouse did not have a burger on the menu, so the people at the seafood restaurant would get these trimmings from their steak from this celebrity chef steakhouse. They would just give them to them, and then they would chop that up and they put it in a burger over at the seafood joint. So yeah, man, the trim from good meat is good trim, man.
Another value aspect there is the wine. They got $20 for a half carafe and $40 for a full carafe of their house red and white wine, which served it out of a keg. So that's another cost saver. And besides that, all the wines that they have, they don't have a lot. They have like a couple dozen. But all the ones are like approachable and reasonably priced. And but he's doing some other things that are different. Like he told me his mac and cheese was the best anywhere, even better than Carson Kitchen maybe. And I've never thought mac and cheese was a big deal. It's just like an average side to me. But his was great. He's got 5 cheeses. But what they do is, he said they cube the cheese. They don't grate it.
Okay.
So it melts. It's not all the way melted.
Right. So it's got
very
different
cheesy
consistency. Yeah, it's thicker.
And then the rigatoni using gin instead of vodka sauce
Yeah,
makes it more herbaceous. And then he's got cream spinach Rockefeller.
I like that dish a lot, man.
And he's got anise flavored herb saint. Have you ever heard of herb saint? I guess it's some kind of liqueur. And then there's also, he uses salt water and oyster natural liquid.
Yeah, it's basically that spinach side dish at Butcher and Thief tastes like Oysters Rockefeller without the oysters, with no oyster shell and no oyster meat, but it tastes like fucking Oysters Rockefeller.
And I don't like trout, but he's got a steelhead trout from Scotland, and it was delicious. It didn't taste fishy, and that's why I don't like trout. It always tastes fishy.
I like trout, and when Corey says it's trout on the menu, it's trout on the menu. I don't care what fucking some influencer that doesn't recognize fish says. You remember that whole
Yeah, I remember you talking about
that he had? People are all mad. They said it wasn't trout, but it was, and people steelhead can look a lot like salmon, so people get confused sometimes.
Yeah. But it's a beautiful dish too. It's got all different colors. But of course, Corey has the background with Carrie Simon, which, by the way, the series you did on Carrie Simon was wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
But anyway, I asked him how did he get connected with Carrie Simon, and he told me that Carrie was a customer when he was working at Gymkhana, and they became friends, and then eventually they opened restaurants together, including Simon at Palm's Place.
Yeah.
And one of the nods to Carrie is he has the junk food platter.
Yeah, we love
which
that.
they had there, and it's a rotating mix of cotton candy, caramel corn, oatmeal pies, brownies, Fruity Pebbles cereal bars.
I love those Fruity Pebble bars, man.
But also a cupcake from Freed's, which is a neighbor there where he's located in the Bend. So I thought that was really cool that he's supporting his neighbors that way.
Yeah. They've always done that. Back at Carson Kitchen in the old days, do you remember that Carson Kitchen for years had donut shops next to it?
Yes.
And he used to buy the stale donuts to make like a bread pudding dessert, I think, over at Carson, which was really cool.
Well,
supporting the neighbors.
Corey's just a good guy all the way around, so
Yeah.
I love spending time with him. He was very generous. Oh, I forgot to mention the Elvis connection.
The peanut butter?
Yeah.
Peanut butter bacon?
He realized that Elvis loved peanut butter, bacon, and in the sandwich. So he has something on the menu there. It's called the peanut butter bacon, and it's got jalapeno cucumber jelly that really makes it.
Yeah.
And I remember you talking about that you just like to eat bacon, but I love all those ingredients, so it was a winner for me.
I just thought that ingredient, that bacon that he uses is so good. It's like the best bacon in the world. All great chefs use
bacon,
it. Yeah, Newski's. And it's so fucking good that when I taste that flavor, I really don't want peanut butter and jelly on top of it. That's just me, man.
Well, I remember at Carson Kitchen they had the bacon jam.
Oh, yeah, that bacon jam.
I always loved that. So this was kind of a variation of that, I think.
Yeah.
Except with the peanut butter aspect.
Right. Any place else, man? I know but once you get through what you want to do, I do want to talk to you about Kin Pao, because I know that's your pick of the week at Food and Loathing this week. So can you tell us a bit about that? I mean, and we should tell people, Bob does his article every week at Food and Loathing. It's a dining and entertainment update. It usually has events, special events that are coming up, things like that. But he also takes a deep dive in his pick of the week every week. And this week it's Kin Pao.
Well,
Pin Cow, excuse me.
Well, I kind of did things in the reverse. I got to love Blue Orchid first, which is kind of an off spin of Pin Cow. But Pin Cow has been open for their Lake Mead and Rainbow locations, been open 25 years.
Wow.
And then the one that I went to in Henderson on Eastern and Richmar, it's been open for more than 16 years. So they're not new to town.
No.
So
it's Thai food, right? I haven't been to Pin Cow.
But what was really cool is as soon as you walk in, you feel like you've been transported to Thailand. And everything in there, the totality of the decor, the intricate carved woodwork, ornate roofs, historic photos, artwork, it's all imported from Thailand.
Wow.
So that's really authentic. But then when you get to the food, it's just as authentic. And what I like there is that it was the gamut of Thai cuisine from various regions. Some Thai restaurants will just like focus on one type of or one region of Thailand, but they had something from everywhere. And my favorites were the tom kha soup, a really nice generous portion of coconut milk, mushrooms, lemongrass, scallion, cilantro, and galangal root cooked with your choice of protein. And if you ordered in the the larger size, they bring this big old pot, and it's got a burner underneath it, so it stays piping hot while you're eating it.
Cool.
I saw beef jerky on the menu. I was thinking, what the hell?
Oh, Thai beef jerky, man. I like Thai beef jerky.
I never had beef jerky other than, in those packs where you have to chew really hard.
Yeah.
But man, it was great. They marinated it in an herb and spice brine, and it was really tender. And it came with this really tasty house-made tamarind sauce.
Cool.
And then they got a lot of places have the crying tiger beef. I don't know why it's called that. Do you?
Because it's spicy and makes you cry.
Oh, well, I don't remember it being spicy, but you could do your levels from 0 to 10.
Yeah, and
So
I'm a big wimp when it
people I
comes
was
to
with
heat.
didn't like heat, so we weren't doing.
I can't do heat; it blows out my palate, man.
But that's for northern Thailand's Isan region, and it's New York strip grilled with the Thai-style dipping sauce. And if you want to taste all the seafood that is in the region of Thailand, there's the Gulf of Thailand. It's a sizzling dish, hot cast iron pot with shrimp, scallops, green mussel, squid, all stir-fried with bell pepper, jalapeno, and onions in a special chili paste sauce.
Cool.
Another region represented the red curry, which is a Thai classic, and that's also simmered in coconut milk and kaffir lime leaves.
Okay.
And I just love coconut. And things cooked in coconut taste so good.
Yeah.
Pad See Ew, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Street vendors make that popular. It's wide rice noodles with stir-fried eggs and Chinese broccoli and dark soy sauce. And I wanted to mention the portions are large, while the prices are definitely not. Majority menu items priced between $6 and $18.
Nice.
And they have this lunch special. You can't beat it. Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. $15.95. You get an egg roll, house salad, tom kha soup, and an entree, choosing from pad thai, Thai fried rice, Thai red curry, stir fried spicy basil, or chow mein.
Cool.
And so I was extremely pleased, and it's in my neighborhood almost, so I'm going back.
Awesome,
those
man.
prices.
So there's 2 locations, and again, their sister restaurant is Blue Orchid, right?
Right.
Cool. Okay, I got to get to a few of mine for
Okay.
this week. I only had a couple nights out this week. Very slow week, but Friday was a hell of a night. But we'll start off on Wednesday. Sue and I wanted to stay close to home, find a place where we could watch the VGK game. So we dined over at the bar at Amari, which we love. Amari in the Uncommons complex on Durango at the 215. Fantastic Italian restaurant. We dined there a lot. Ordered the focaccia. They were kind enough to send out all the 4 dips that you can order to go with it. And you know what? They're great, but the reason I ordered the focaccia was because we had ordered the meatballs and we had ordered the shrimp with uni tomato sauce, and I wanted to sop all that up, right? So I didn't need the extra dipping sauces that they brought. I just, from my dishes, I wanted to make sure I got all that scarpetta, as they would say, right? Like
Right.
drag the bread across the bottom and get all that. So it was fantastic. We loved it. Sue also ordered a beautifully prepared piece of salmon. Skin was just fucking perfect with some broccolini and some sauce. Not quite as rare in the center as I personally like it. I like it to stay really translucent in the center, so I would have maybe made it just a touch more rare, but I'm not complaining. Most people would have loved this exactly as it is. And again, the skin was perfect, really, really well-cooked piece of salmon. And, some people don't treat salmon all that well, so that makes me happy.
Did you get to meet the chef when you were there? Last time we were there, they had a new chef from Puerto Rico. It's Ricardo something, I think. But he was a young guy, really talented.
Cool. I'm going to have to go and find out to talk to him, hopefully. That was my Wednesday. That was great. Then on Friday, Aria hosted a party to celebrate the recent opening of Gymkhana. I was lucky enough to score an invitation to that one. You know what the invitation roulette is like in this town, man. You get some, you don't get others. I got this one, made me feel very, very, very lucky. I didn't see you, so I'm guessing you didn't get this one.
I did not, and after looking at some of the things on Facebook, I can see why. It was like super high-end and fancy, wearing suits and stuff, and not really my scene, and all the famous people there. So
yeah, and I
wouldn't have fit in very well.
wore a suit. So, it's fancy if I'm wearing a suit, right? Like, that's not me. So that shindig did not start until 8 p.m. So Sue and I were planning to go over to the bar at Ocean Prime beforehand. We love Ocean Prime. But on our way over there, we bumped into Adam Sash, a sommelier that I've known since, probably the old Carnivino in Palazzo. Do you know Adam? at all? Well, it turns out that in addition to work he's doing now with some local distributors, he's also working at Toca Madera. And he invited us in for a glass of bubbles. Of course, we said yes. It's great to reconnect with people. This was my first time in Toca Madera. And it has been recommended to me by a wide variety of people. Rick Moonen loves it. My friend Kingston Majors over at the Kid Zone restaurant reviewer, the youngest restaurant reviewer I know, he loves this place. So from old school to new, people like it. It's been put on Neon Feast because of all the recommendations. I hired a fantastic writer to write about it who knew it better than I knew it myself. And through all this, I never got into the place, right? So it's on my app. I did all this. But finally, I bump into Adam. He's like, come on in. I'm like, fucking great, man. So we go in. We limited our visit to the lounge and a few small bites, but I was really, really impressed. So, and also, in addition to the fact that I didn't know Adam was working there, I was also completely unaware that Chef Dan Rossi is running the kitchen. Now, I don't know, Bob, if you've known Dan. I've known him for fucking decades. He's great. Old timers like me maybe remember him from the Michelin-starred Alex in Wynn Las Vegas, the Eiffel Tower restaurant in Paris under Jean Jo. He was with Scott Conan at Scarpetta back when Scott was still involved in the Scarpetta thing. He also spent a lot of time at the Red Rock Resort before running the kitchen at the private Sterling Club. And I'm just going through this because I'm saying this motherfucker has chops, right?
I recognize all those restaurants.
Yeah, right? So I've known him for a long time. Adam, diverts me into this place, and I'm sitting there, and Dan walks out of the kitchen to say hi. So this is like great, nice little reunion. And okay, now I'm a lot more interested in Toca Madera than I was even when it was being recommended to me. So I'm already falling in love with this joint. The food we had really reinforced that. This is a Mexican steakhouse. The menu is much more broad, and that was evidence even in the small bites they sent over to us. We had a mini risotto ball as an amuse-bouche that was excellent. We had some hamachi crudo with smoked truffle ponzu, very, very good, with some shiso and also some Aleppo peppers on that. And then we had some crispy wonton tacos stuffed with chopped A5 Wagyu. I'm not usually a big fan of like a crispy wonton taco, but the meat in this was so fucking good that I really, really enjoyed it. Somebody there ordered the tomahawk while I was there. They set it aflame tableside. Everybody likes to light things on fire these days.
They lit the tomahawk on fire?
I think it was the tomahawk.
Oh.
Was it some other steak? I'm looking at it from across the bar. I thought it was the tomahawk.
Oh. What? I don't know. You mean they finished cooking it?
Yeah,
right there?
well, no, basically it's hanging there. You remember Stanton Social used to do this as well? Maybe it still does. They bring out a big piece of meat, and it's got herbs on both sides of it, and the meat's dipped in something that'll light on fire, and they just light everything up, and it smells, and it's big.
Makes like a show.
It's a show. This place is very show focused. I mean, I would honestly say I feel like Amaya, which I like Amaya quite a bit, but I feel like Amaya saw what these guys were doing, and then Amaya, which is Click Hospitality, I think they took sort of like the food from their other restaurant, Mijo, but they took the atmosphere from Toca Madera and combined them together. So if you're familiar with that, there were fire dancers that came out and were there while we were there. They were lighting shots on fire or beverages on fire. So there's a lot of motherfucking fire in this
like
place,
the old
right?
Vegas dinner show.
Yeah, they just wanted to keep you looking across the room. So you're saying, what is that? It's a party spot. It's clearly a party spot, but the food is very good. And I'm very fascinated by this place. So I can't wait to go back. Have you been in there?
No.
No? Maybe when I go back, you and I go.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, cool. Hey, Toca Madera, give us a call. I'd like to come in. I couldn't stick around there for very long because I had that Gymkhana party. Dude, it's a great fucking party. Well, first of all, I put on a suit. So right there, I'm expecting
That
a
must be
great
something
fucking
to
party.
see. Al Mancini in a suit.
Dude, I own 3 suits, and I try to keep them tailored to my changing body weight so that I always can mix it up a little and look good. But I don't put them on very often. I only own 3. So yes, I'm expecting something good when I put a suit on. But it's a really great party when you walk past a classic Rolls Royce parked in front of the restaurant. And as I walk by it, I go snap some photos of 2 live white peacocks. Yeah, that kind of party.
A white peacock?
2 live white peacocks.
So they don't have the colorful...
No.
they're spread out.
No, but they're still pretty fucking awesome, to be honest. It's really cool, man. I don't think they're going to be there all the time. I believe that Rolls-Royce will be there all the time. The restaurant itself, gorgeous, dark, classic, a cross between almost a hunting lodge vibe where you have like paintings of animals and tigers and things like that on the wall, but also with with what you would see as a classic Indian vibe, right? Because this is an Indian restaurant. The original Gymkhana in London, I believe, is the only Michelin-starred Indian restaurant, maybe, or certainly in London, but I think maybe in the world outside of India. I don't know, but it's big. So the place is just fucking beautiful. I like it. It's nobody could believe this was the same spot where Julian Serrano used to have his restaurant in Aria, but it's big. It's beautiful. It's dark. It's a lot of fun. There was a lot of food being passed around. Some of it was too spicy for me, but again, that is because I am a notorious wuss when it comes to spicy food. It was all delicious. There's a dude wandering around scooping out caviar bumps. I got to tell you, honestly, I don't know if he was just like doing it to promote his own company or whether he was supposed to be there or whether he was part of the show. I don't give a fuck. Somebody gives me some caviar, I'm happy. I don't care where they came from. So I had a lot of fun, great party, lots of people, lots of gorgeous, beautiful people, but still people like me at the same time. This is the hottest restaurant in town right now. It is impossible to get a reservation unless you have a lot of juice. I've yet to see a menu that includes the prices because, casinos don't like to put prices on their menus online. That's just something that's become pretty common. So that bothers me a bit, but that is just everybody across the board in Las Vegas. The London location has a Michelin star and the Strip ain't a cheap place to live. So I'm guessing you're going to spend some dough if you want to dine here. But I did notice that if you go to the MGM website, they list this as $3 signs, not $4. Elsewhere in Aria, Jean-Georges and Carbone, for example, get the $4 signs from them. So this should indicate this is a little less expensive than those joints.
You know what the $3 signs, what figure that represents?
I don't, because we all use our own things, right? Yeah. Like we all have, but I just know that it means it's a little less expensive than Carbone and Jean-Georges. So there you go. But I'm sure it's going to cost a fair amount of money. Make your reservation now. Save up. You'll have time because it's hard to get a reservation if you're planning a trip to Las Vegas. Seriously, this is the hottest spot right now in Las Vegas. Last year had a lot of great openings. I think Carbone Riviera is a super hot spot right now. If you're coming back to Vegas, I think Pisces is a super hot spot right now. I mean, there's a lot. But right now, if you're trying to get a reservation, the only place I know where nobody I know can get a fucking reservation is Gymkhana. So I would definitely, make a reservation early if you want to go in there. And it might take me a minute to get in there, but I eventually will. And I hope to have a report on that for you when I get in. And that's about it for this week for this Where Have We Dined section. Coming up, we've got a happy hour report and the news. But first, I sit down with Dale DeGroff at the Vault in Bellagio. He was the first in a year-long series of guest barkeeps known as Liquid Legends. And you should know there are more of these Liquid Legends series upcoming from people like cocktail writer Robert Simonson on March 5th and 6th and cocktail historian David Wondrich on August 6th and 7th. They'll all take place in the Vault, which is a fucking jewel box of a bar. This is my first time in there. I wasn't in there for the event. I was just in there for the interview. Have you been in the Vault, Bob?
I have not.
It's fucking gorgeous in Bellagio. It's a little kind of... I don't want to say it's a hidden speakeasy, but it doesn't have a sign, so I guess you would say that. And it's honestly tucked behind the cashier's cage in Bellagio. And a fucking beautiful room. I think it's reservation only, so definitely worth getting in there.
That's pretty confident when you don't have a sign.
Yeah. But it's a tiny little joint, and you get enough of, I think it's where they send their VIPs and high rollers a lot. I feel like it's that kind of place. If you know, you know. If you know, you know, yes. And I think, I feel as though, and I don't know if this is true, hopefully I'm not making anybody mad, but I feel as though it's the kind of place that a lot of the people that are in there, their VIP host got them in there, right? It just has that kind of vibe to the room. But again, I was in there off hours. So anyway, man, we have that interview with Dale DeGroff coming up immediately after this. This is Food and Loathing. And this is me with Dale DeGroff. Sir, first of all, welcome to Las Vegas. Welcome to Bellagio. I know it's not my casino, but I want to welcome you because you are a legend. And as somebody who has befriended a lot of mixologists over the course of my life, you're somebody who, even the best of the best, the Tony Abughanams, they speak of your name in with very, very reverent terms. So it is so cool to have you in Las Vegas doing this kind of pop-up event at Bellagio. Could you tell me what inspired that?
Well, number one, the Bellagio, I was here week one. Tony asked me to come and speak to the bartenders. You know, he was starting that amazing program, which really changed cocktails in Las Vegas. It's unbelievable what he did. I mean, I would hear complaints from people about how hard it is to use fresh juice because I have such a busy bar. I said, you have a busy bar? Do you make 25,000 drinks a day? Because that's what Tony's doing. And he's using fresh juices, you know. So it was such a pleasure to come here. And I came here over and over again to whenever I could do a session for the guys, you know. And anyway, to me, I mean, my wife thinks the devil lives in Las Vegas, but I love Las Vegas. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's thinking about the Stand, you know.
Right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, up in the penthouse apart. Yeah.
So I could never get her to come. Even though I said, honey, I'm probably going to get a great suite at the Bellagio. No, I'm not going to go to Las Vegas.
So she's a Stephen King fan.
She's a Stephen King fan, yes.
Can we just refresh people's memory a little bit, or people who don't follow the cocktail world? I mean, I know you as the man. What I've been told, I don't think I've ever been at one of your bars, but you are the guy who brought the Rainbow Room back to its glory days. But you have a long, long history. Could you just give a little bit of a background on your tremendous cocktail history?
Well, quickly, it's a hard story to tell in a short sentence or two, but the name Joe Baum figures very, very highly in the story. Joe was a genius in the restaurant business, an impresario who created restaurants in the city and in other places that changed the way we eat and drink in America. His menu development person was James Beard. And so going to work for Joe in 1985, actually at a small fine dining restaurant when he was building the Rainbow Room. It took him 2 years to do the restoration of that beautiful property, which had originally opened when Rockefeller Center opened. Was an extraordinary thing. Dishes with tradition, drinks with tradition. And when I had my interview with him, he said, I want drinks that were probably not on a menu since either before Prohibition or right after Prohibition, you know, some of them in the 19th century. That's what I want, drinks with tradition. So can you figure that? I want you to get a book called How to Mix Drinks by Jerry Thomas. And I went to Fifth Avenue, to Doubleday and to Barnes & Noble looking for this book, right? And everyone said, this book doesn't exist, man. So finally, Scribner's was still open, where Hemingway's agent used to sit in that arched window up there. Now it's a lingerie store or something. But anyway, I go in, and I said, if they don't know in Scribner's, nobody knows. So he said, hold on. And he comes back with the old and rare book. He said, oh, you're not going to find this book. It was first published in 1862, again in 1887, a private edition in the 20s. You're not going to find it. I found it.
Really? Where'd you find it?
Joe, from a friend who had it.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you went to the Strand, right? When I was in New York.
Collecting, you know, no one was collecting those days, so you could still find them if you knew the right person to go to.
Right.
And I got that name from Joe's partner, who helped me develop a menu of wonderful drinks. So it was that menu that we opened the Rainbow with graphics by Milton Glaser, the famous, you know. And it was a stunning menu. Joe didn't want creativity. He didn't want what the craft guys are doing. Mm-hmm. They're taking the classics and they're tweaking them and variants and and I get that, you know. But Joe wanted the best classic recipe because these drinks hadn't been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. People didn't even have menus in the 80s and 90s in New York because that was gone, you know. Mostly because nobody was making those kinds of drinks. A lot of the products weren't available. Nobody was using fresh juice. Everybody was using the gun. Even fancy places had a gun with juices and sodas coming out of them. So that really, Joe's vision was the same vision he had with James Beard that said there has to be a new American cuisine out there. Because all the 4-star chefs were Italian or mostly French. Mm-hmm. And that pissed them both off. So finally, they realized their vision, starting with the Four Seasons in the Seagram's building and every restaurant after that. And that's when you saw the rise of the young American chefs, An American Place, Keller. You saw this rise of young chefs inspired by Joe. Alice Waters, she went to France, and she was inspired by the Four Seasons when she read about it on the way back. You know, the seasonally changing menu. She saw that in France, but she'd never seen it in the United States, so she opened Chez Panisse, you know. So Joe was that guy who really changed the way we eat and drink, and he wanted to change the way we drink, not just by getting Kevin Israeli on the wine list, but getting me to figure out the cocktail part of it. He wanted that back. It's an American institution. We invented the fucking cocktail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we didn't borrow a lot from the English. We did,
Right,
you know, but
right.
we really invented this idea of taking different spirits and putting them together, you know, rather than just featuring one.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how it all began.
So, in the years since, you have seen cocktail trends come, you have seen cocktail trends go, especially in a city like Las Vegas, where we still have flair bars, we still have a little bit of everything. Does it still excite you when you see new generations going back and maybe rediscovering the classics, or are you more excited when you see people that are trying to take things in a new direction?
Well, to be honest with you, my biggest contribution to this business, I was high profile at the Rainbow Room. I was on the Today Show, all this stuff. We got a lot of print and everything. And so my biggest contribution was making it okay to be a bartender again, because it wasn't the chosen profession.
Right.
I mean, post-Prohibition, gangsters ran the bars. They didn't stop running the bars. They didn't stop running the distribution houses. They just went legit.
Right.
So it took 2 generations to get past that. And so nobody wants their kids to be in a gangster profession.
Right.
So by the time I come along, it's gotten to the point where those guys are all either dead or their grandchildren have taken over, and they've gotten totally away from the whole, you know, stigma of prohibition in the gangster world. So I think that thing alone had a tremendous impact. And really the other thing was taking it to a culinary level. I mean, Carme and Escoffier came up with the 5 basic sauces. Carme came up with them, Escoffier perfected them, so that they could make thousands and thousands and thousands of sauces with 5 sauce bases.
5 mothers, yeah.
Well, we figured it out at the Rainbow Room, and then the craft cocktail movement that came after me perfected it. That, yeah, we have our basic sauces. The old fashioned is a basic sauce. You can make it with any spirit, you know. The Martini Manhattan, you know, a wine product and a strong spirit and spices. You can do thousands of drinks with that. The sour. How many sours are there? How many sweets are there? How many bases are there? It just goes on and on and on. So the whole idea of taking that culinary idea, stretching it out over the bar, and these guys, especially bars like this, have taken that idea and exploded people's minds. There's stuff in these glasses I would never have imagined in these glasses. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When I arrived at my room in the Bellagio, I wasn't in the room 5 minutes. They sent me what do they call it? The gift.
Complimentary.
Something, but there's a name for it.
Basket?
No, there's a name for it. They send me, so the guy rolls it in, and it's a glass. They have one here, a glass and a wood, and you know, and it fit, and there's smoke inside, and there's little chocolates, and there's 2 glasses and all these spices in there, and then a bottle of Colby Frey's wheat single malt from here in Nevada.
Right.
Really good.
Yeah. No.
6-year-old.
Yeah. Frey Ranch. Very good stuff.
Anyway, I pop that right away and pull out a glass and pour the Colby over a little bit of ice, and man, it's just terrific, you know. But we didn't do stuff like that. I you know, and inside there's all these spices, whole spices, you know, that the smoke has been picking up, and you know, and while it was happening in there, and this is the kind of stuff that blows my mind and that I love. There was a moment in the beginning of the craft movement when it got a little self-conscious, you know, where the guy wanted to tell you how he made his homemade tonic. He wanted to tell you how this tincture was different from that. And, you know, and a lot of people were like, excuse me, what did you say? Yeah,
Right.
Can I use the pin button? You know, but when I found out, as I traveled around with our Bar Smarts company, which was a training thing we did for bartenders around America, when I found out that some of the craft guys got it, and they installed a pool table and a couple of pinball machines. I said, yes, now they get the business. Now they understand what this is all about. It's about fun. They don't give a shit about your tonic recipe, you know. 3 people do. Tell them. But the other 9 really want to have a good time, you know. And when they figured that out, it made it even better. But they're craftsmen.
So when you come to a night like this in a room like Bellagio with people who clearly are here to see you, What's the experience like? Are you telling them the stories? Are you bringing them in with a little bit of history?
Well, my hands are broken. My knee is shot. I'm wearing a thing here. So I'm going to try to work as little as I possibly can and spend most of my time telling stories because these guys are so good and the way they handle their tools. Mm-hmm. I mean, I used to be pretty clever at my tools and everything, but look at this. I mean, I've lost that grace of movement and skill that I had as a young bartender. So I'm going to be back there most of the time until the knee starts bugging me, making drinks, but probably about 1/10 the speed that they're making them.
Hey, that's okay though. People are getting a drink made by you, and that it's worth the wait. One last thing before we go, you were showing me some bottles. So you have your own product out there. Could you just tell me a little bit about what you're putting out under the DeGroff label?
Well, I work with a partner named Ted Bro, who's an absinthe maker. And we looked at the market and realized that the Italians had taken over the cocktail hours, with bitter aperitivo and Amaro. Yeah. So he said, I think we need to work in that category. And we had already started with an allspice bitters. So we extrapolated that bitters out into a liqueur. And Amaro. I mean, Amaros are liqueur. Both of these, by the way, Amaro and bitter aperitivo fall in the liqueur category according to the GTB.
Cool. Well, hopefully people will look for that, man. I wish I had more time to chat with you. I've already gone way over what I asked for, but just speaking to you is just so fascinating, man. Such an honor. Thanks for your time.
It's been my pleasure, man. Thank you very much. I love what you're doing, too.
Up next, a happy hour report and the news. This is Food and Loathing. It's time again to do a happy hour report, and this has been a kind of a cocktail-themed episode, so I'm curious. Andrew Morgan of Happy Hour Vegas, our happy hour guy who tells you where to go, where to save money, where to get great deals, where to get good food, where to get good drinks during happy hour. I'm curious, my friend, how about cocktail-focused happy hours? You got anything in mind?
Yeah, you're asking the right guy. First of all, let me tell you, January came and gone, whatever. I'm no quitter. I'm not dry January yet. I spent my time on behalf of you guys to make sure to find the best cocktails, or the best deals, the best prices at happy hour. And I got a few, so definitely.
Okay, so are we talking specific neighborhoods? Are we talking specific vibe, or just who's got cocktails?
Yeah, so, obviously this is a town that was built on the cocktails. So there's tons of them all over the place. I actually specifically, easy stumble distance, I'll tell you, from place to place in the Arts District. Okay. So I had three things that I'll going to give a shout out to was Petit Bohème. That's... First of all, their happy hour is great, and they have two happy hours, right? They have the regular 4 to 6, and then also 9 to 11. But you've got, this place is just built on cocktails, right? Especially that French from France cocktail kind of theme to it. Try the Boulevardier. It's got some champagne and some other magnificent stuff that'll just absolutely fucking set you free, and it's $8.
Okay, first of all, I love a Boulevardier. $8 is an amazing deal, and Petit Bohème is a pretty fantastic place.
Yeah, man. Just the ambience itself is just cool. I think it's a James Trees, place. But regardless, just a good vibe, great service, great cocktails, totally high end at a low end budget.
If you ever get a chance, go on YouTube or Google or wherever. Google Las Vegas bartenders make a Boulevardier in front of the Welcome to Las Vegas sign or some shit like that, right? Like there's this great thing that came out probably about 7 or 8 years ago. I think Southern Wine and Spirits put it together, and they collected all the best Las Vegas bartenders, and each of them did like one ingredient, and it's really fucking cool.
Oh, I can see. Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna actually put that on the site. I'm gonna link to it on your recommendation. But like happy hours there. Like I said, 2 happy hours, and you can't go wrong.
Okay, so it is a James Beard. It is a James Trees. James Trees, James Beard. You're all the same guy, right? At this point, no, it is a James Trees bar. It's his first place that's a bar only. Of course, Bar Bohème is the restaurant counterpart to it, but there is food during happy hour at Petit Bohème, right?
Yes, there is, and in fact, the late night happy hour, it goes from 9 to 11 o'clock. It pairs the bar bites with the purchase of a wine or a cocktail or a beer kind of thing. So, it's an even better deal. And yeah, the food program is outstanding there. I went there for cocktails. no food, but I've been there once upon a time, and the food is fantastic. So.
Okay, cool. So let's say you stumble out of there, you're having a good night, you're not ready to call it. I mean, I am going to be, by the time people hear this, I will have spent so much time in the Arts District this past week. So, so you're stumbling around. Maybe you're going to go see the Showgirls, the musical parody at Majestic Repertory Theater. Maybe you want to go see Ellie Parker from Hell's Kitchen over at Main Street Provisions. But, you're doing your stroll, you're doing your thing. You had a couple cocktails in you, but you want a few more. Where are we going, man?
So, Craft Creamery. This is the CC, as they call it. So this is, ice cream shop in the day, speakeasy at night. Unless you know people, I would suggest calling ahead, making a little bit of reservation, because it's slow moving there on purpose, and that's a good thing. Take your time. They make really fantastic cocktails and also a great menu as well. So,
and you got it. I mean, describe what Craft Creamery is all about, because I know and a lot of my listeners know, but not everybody knows, and it is definitely it's a wild scene. it's a speakeasy in a way.
It is. It's your speakeasy. It's, I would say, very like retro, vintage, true to form speakeasy. So it's going way back in the day when speakeasies were real. The ice cream shop, man.
I didn't hear you mention that there was in an ice cream shop. How do you talk about Craft Creamery and not tell people it's in an ice cream shop?
That's right. I mean, it's like liquor in the front, poker in the rear. You got ice cream in the front and liquor in the rear. Come on, it's going to be great. It is, and actually, the ice cream is fucking outstanding. Yeah. It is really, really good. Like, right. It's not just a cover. It's the real deal ice cream thing. So you hit that up, hit the Craft Creamery, the CC Speakeasy in the back, you're good to go.
Yeah, and I should say that barman David Militello is back there. He was at Manzu for years. Fantastic guy. He's been at some other places. I've judged some cocktail competitions that he was in, and he's a fantastic barman. Do you have a favorite there?
Yeah, I do. So first, the details. Happy hour Monday to Friday, 5 to 7 p.m., and then also on the weekends, which is cool. Saturday and Sunday, 3 to 7 p.m. So if you're on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m., want a good speakeasy cocktail, I think this is like the only place in the Arts District to be able to do that in the afternoon. So it's pretty damn good. Cocktails, $15, and the food menu is outstanding as well. $18 for some really good stuff. We're talking about sliders with American Wagyu. You're talking about chicken and waffles. So some good stuff. I had the Jack Rose. Amazing cocktail, but there's the Millionaire, there's the Godfather, there's Brown Derby, and they kind of change it up on a regular basis based on who the bartender is and whatever. So really fucking good.
Cool, and it is worth noticing that worth mentioning that you did mention that it is in the Arts District. It's actually off of Art Square. It is on the other side of Charleston from a lot of things that people consider the Arts District. And Art Square, by the way, is a great cocktail square. There's 3 great cocktail places right on that square.
For sure. And lastly, if you find yourself stumbling around Arts District, around happy hour, as I often am, you can also hit up Palette on a Wednesday afternoon for 99-cent martinis. That'll that's a good way to bookend the happy hour.
They still doing 99-cent oysters for happy hour at Palette on Wednesdays?
They are. Is it Wednesdays or Thursdays? I got to check, or it's on the website. But yeah, they're still doing that. But for the cocktail guy, 99-cent martini, and they do them really well there. So.
Yeah, that could cause trouble, and that's what I like. Things that could cause trouble, man. Well, thank you for your time, my friends. Remind people where they need to go if they want to get a list of over 500 fantastic happy hours in Las Vegas.
507 happy hours that we're tracking every month. We are at happyhourvegas.com. Sign up for the newsletter. And the reason why I encourage that is because our subscribers, which I call the Happy Hour Club, you're first to know about a lot of stuff, including a lot of the events that we have coming up. And there's a few on the calendar. We're going to be pushing them out on the newsletter. So first to get them, first tickets, because these are usually smaller, 100 people max kind of deal. So you're going to want to get on that.
Okay, great, man. I assume you will be back next week?
Of course. I'm not going anywhere. You can find me at a bar.
So that was the Happy Hour Report, and now it is time for the news. Instead of normal news, I'm hoping that Bob will start us off with some beer and some booze news for this week. But man, if it's okay, I'm going to ask you, please, if possible, start things off by explaining to us what's going on with Huddle Brewing on Main Street in the Arts District, because everybody keeps asking me.
Well, I have some great news about that. They were all set to, serve their last beer, and now they have a deal with Neon Desert Brewery out in the Booze District.
Yeah.
And so they're brewing their beer their Huddle beer out there, and they're doing their core beers only right now. So you can still get their beers around town. But the plan is hopefully that they'll raise enough money by selling their beers that are being made at Neon Desert that they can still reopen their place on Main Street. They want to reopen with a kitchen.
Okay, so Main Street remains closed.
The location on Main Street is closed.
And
yes.
what was the reason that they had to close that? Because they were brewing beer in there for years, weren't they?
Yeah, ever since 2020.
Okay.
So there were myriad reasons, but mainly it was the parking was one, the downturn in tourism was one, but a major one too was not having a kitchen. So people, there's places to eat around there, they'd go there and they'd have beer as well. So that
Right.
if they have their own kitchen, and they weren't able to open the kitchen because of government red tape and delays and whatnot, so if they can get that worked out with more time, maybe that would help them be resurrected on Main Street.
Okay, so for now, if you like your favorite Huddle beers that you used to drink down on Main Street, you say they're brewing them in the
Neon
Henderson
Desert.
Booze District through Neon Desert.
Mm-hmm.
Where are they serving those beers?
So you can get them at Neon Desert, but you can just get them at the same places where you used to get them, around different restaurants and bars. And
Okay.
yeah,
And they got good distribution in this town?
yeah. So again, it's just going to be their 4 or 5 main core beers, but a lot of people love that.
Yeah.
Love Huddle.
Absolutely. Okay, what else is going on in beer and booze news that you could tell us about?
Well, there's a brand new brewery that just opened last week.
Where's that?
It's on, of all places, Main Street.
Main Street is turning into Beer Central, man.
Oh, yeah, but it's on the north side of Charleston on Main Street, real close to where Chin Chin is. It's called Modest.
Modest.
Yeah.
Vegas isn't known for modesty.
So I don't really have much news about it. I'm going there a week from today.
Okay.
To check things out. But they have a kit. They serve sandwiches that they're very proud of. The two main people there are Casey Jacobson, who was the head brewer at 777 before he left to do this project, and also Scott Seals, who's with Abel Baker. He wasn't a brewer, but he was over at Abel Baker and doing things. So also, I wanted to share that my monthly beer column, my Las Vegas Brewing News, is now, you're able to read it on the San Diego Brewing News site.
Oh, awesome, man.
So now people from San Diego are reading about Las Vegas beer, and they're the person that does the San Diego Brewing News is Brandon Hernandez, and he's a longtime friend of mine. We actually he's the goat of San Diego beer writing.
And San Diego is really a center area for craft beer in America,
Well,
right?
just to give you an idea, they have 4 times as many breweries as we do, in the same population we do. They have over 200
Wow.
breweries in that area.
Wow.
And Brandon and I met at beer camp.
Beer camp?
Yes.
Okay, what's beer camp?
Well, Sierra Nevada Brewing in Chico, I think they still do it. They have an all-immersive 2 days where you learn all about the brewing process and you brew a beer together. So at that time, we both wrote for Celebrator Beer News. And so they had a beer camp weekend just for all the Celebrator Beer News writers. And that's where I met Brandon. We immediately hit it off. So he's a good friend and a tremendous writer.
Cool, man. Any other beer news that we need?
Yeah, one of my favorite events of the year is coming up, and that's Craft House Comrade Day. It's named Comrade Day because when they first opened out there at the Booze District, George Rads, who was the founder of Las Vegas Distilling, they would have a day where they would make a beer that was aged in some of his whiskey staves, and so they named it Comrade. And
Right.
It's a really strong imperial stout. So every year they release a new Comrade beer. This year's 11.2%.
Ooh.
And it's always the day before Super Bowl, so I'm looking forward to going that. Also, one of your favorite places, Al, Evolve Brewing.
Yeah, I work out of there about 2 days a week, man.
I met you there a few weeks ago, but they're having their first anniversary. And that's going to be on, I didn't say the date of the Craft House Comrade Day is February 7th, day before Super Bowl. Okay. Evolve's 1 year anniversary is going to be on January 31st. They're going to be pouring 2 different anniversary beers. So it's a ticketed thing for $50. You get a whole bunch of beer and a T-shirt and a chance to win beer for a year.
Beer for a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to do a quick mention of 595, which is, in my opinion, one of the very top craft beer bars. In fact, I'm going over there today for a tap takeover of Abel Baker, which will take place after you hear this. But,
right, you're headed right there. I'm headed right to
a
Durango Social from here.
But I'm a big fan of 595, not only for their tremendous beer list and support for local breweries, but also for the fantastic food they have there.
Cool. Okay, a little more news from me. If you're one of the people anxiously awaiting the return of Hearthstone Cellars to Red Rock, you'll be happy to hear that they've just announced, well, it must be just around the corner, I should say, because I just received my invitation to a grand reopening party. You, Bob,
that
you
one
got
I
yours?
did get
You got that one
to.
too? See, we like to compare notes. Those things usually happen a week or so either way, before or after when it opens to the public. So the party I got invited to, Thursday, January 29th, a million parties that night, by the way, and I have VGK tickets, so I might be unloading those VGK tickets if anybody wants them. Another residency I want to tell you about at Durango Social Club. Istorya is a local dining collective dedicated to telling the story of pre-colonial Filipino cuisine. At least that's how it was explained to me when I interviewed one of the founders over there, Walbert Castillo, for this podcast a couple times in the past. One really nice long interview, so you can look that one up. So he recently told the folks at the Istorya mailing list that this is a new residency currently underway at Durango Social Club. The email says, quote, and I probably don't need to read you this because I hope I'm going to drop an interview right in after this, but just in case, after 3 years of pop-ups and limited run dinner chapters, we're launching our first ever weekly Filipino dining residency at Durango Social Club beginning January 20th. The residency will run every Tuesday and Wednesday evening, marking a new chapter for Istorya as a recurring Filipino dining destination in Las Vegas. The residency shifts our format from single historical chapters to a more personal, chef-driven narrative centered on Istorya's chef Dio Brown's lived experience, blending the Filipino dishes he grew up with and the fine dining technique he's developed in Las Vegas. So that is what they're talking about here. The goal is to create a space where guests can return to regularly while still engaging deeply with Filipino food, story, and community. So the moment we finish recording this section, I am heading over there to interview Istorya founders Walbert Castillo and Monica Blanco. So you should be hearing some of those interviews right here.
We had quite the crazy night. Monica accidentally sliced her finger while cutting up the menus for today's residency. Everything's okay, but we spent some time in the ER last night, and now we are here.
Well, I appreciate you finding time. I do want to get the word out, though, about what you're doing. So that's what's important. I guess I have two main questions for you, and I could just say this and you can answer the rest of the time, and that'd be fine with me, or we could do back and forth. But tell people what Istorya is as a storytelling Filipino community experience, what it's been for the past few years, and then explain how this residency at Durango works for you guys.
Yeah, of course. So at Istorya, the name is in itself. So Istorya means story in Filipino. What we do is we serve cuisine inspired by Filipino history. For those that don't know, Filipino culture has kind of been a confluence of so many different cultural influences. We have the oldest Chinatown in the world. So we've been trading with the Chinese since the 10th century. The largest minority population in the Philippines are Muslim Filipinos. And then we were colonized by Spain for 300 plus years, with almost half of that trading with Mexico. So when you take a look at Filipino cuisine, oftentimes you hear the word original fusion cuisine because of all the different influences that came with it. But at the end of the day, I think people should know that while these influences did come in, Filipinos had the agency to keep what they liked and discarded what they didn't. For us, Istorya is an exploration through time to finally get to where we need to be and to show who we are as Filipino Americans. Al, when we first spoke, I think I was still on chapter 1. We've done 4 chapters across our timeline thus far. And so this is another milestone to add on that timeline. What's really cool is that with Durango Social Club, this is an opportunity to not only focus on our shared histories, but the personal histories that we have as individuals. And for this menu, we're actually featuring the Istorya of Dio Buon. He's currently a master cook at Joel Robuchon, and he spent more than half of his life in Manila. That's his upbringing. And so he later migrated to Las Vegas with his family, and he's been cooking for Bouchon, Joel Robuchon. So all of these different kinds of restaurants that he's worked in have kind of shaped the work that he's doing now with Istorya. What's really cool too is Dio, he didn't really see Filipino food have a platform as much as it has on the Strip or anywhere other than your mom and pop sort of setup restaurant that you would find in Vegas. I think for us, it's time to really activate Filipino American cuisine in the way that it should, and have people like Chef Dio, like our team, to help represent that.
Okay, so here at Durango Social Club, some people do a la carte menus, some people do tasting menus. I know that in the past, and I've never been to one of your events, I feel horrible about that. I think Brock Radke, by the way, I need to thank, because he's the one that originally wrote about you, I think, and that's what got me turned on to you originally. But in the past, I believe it was sort of a set meal. Is this going to be another set meal, or is this a la carte?
So this is the first time that we're pushing for a la carte. And what's really cool is that it creates accessibility. It allows people who might not know what Filipino food entails to not have to purchase a $95 set 10-course menu and be okay with some of the dishes, and not be okay with some of the dishes because they couldn't cater to, their preference or their palate. Here is an opportunity where we can do just that, and they can select based on what they see fit. And that's the exciting part. You'll see a menu inspired by Dio's Istorya from when he grew up in Manila, but then you'll also find some of our classic dishes from our other pop-ups being featured on a bi-weekly, monthly basis.
Okay, so what would you estimate the price point, and then remind people what days of the week, what times, how long you're going to be here?
Yeah, of course. So very thankful for Chef Dan of Other Mama for us being here. We'll actually be here Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Reservations preferred, walk-ins accepted. And essentially, that's kind of the gist for how we're going to have this. There's no end date in sight. And really, the end goal is to have a brick and mortar next year, and use this as an opportunity to really work with our team to get there.
Okay, so price point, what should I plan to spend for dinner?
I would say if you wanted to come in for a beer and a main, you can spend anywhere between 25 to 30. But then if you wanted to explore a bit more, you were like, oh yeah, I'm curious in trying this, I think you can easily go to 50 or 75. So I would say a safe bet is $25 to $75.
One more story I need to add here. This just dropped in before we went to press. James Beard semifinalists have been announced. So that's really cool. 6 of the 20 chefs recognized in the Best Chef Southwest category hail from Las Vegas. Those are the chefs from Sparrow and Wolf, Partage, Casa Playa, The Black Sheep, Barbo M, and Calabash African Kitchen. Restaurateur Elizabeth Blau was recognized for what she's done in both Honey Salt and Buddy V's. Town Square's Tamba is going to compete on a national level for Best New Restaurant. And then Main Street Provisions chef Ellie Parker. And by the way, as we go to press, I am still waiting to hear whether she won on Hell's Kitchen, but you'll know by the time you hear this. Anyway, Ellie has been semifinalist nominated. I guess you don't call it nominated, but she got a semifinalist nod in the Emerging Chef category. And the beverage categories, what do we have here? They recognized Ada's in the Arts District, Win Las Vegas's Aft Cocktail Deck, and of course my friend Marina Mercer-Borini, glad to see her get mentioned, and the new Art Square spot Nocturno. There's a few more in there. We have a story up at foodandloathing.vegas, so just go over there and check it out, and congratulations to absolutely everybody who scored a semifinalist nod. That is about it for my news this week. I'd like to remind you that if you like this podcast, you can also read the latest in dining news, Food and Loathing Las Vegas, and that includes a weekly dining and entertainment report for Bob Barnes. He's already told you about a few things that are going on. Bob, this is where I was going to ask you to talk more about what's going on in your column, but I know you had a couple other restaurants you wanted to talk about, and I do want to tell me who you're going to talk about and pick your favorite.
I was going to talk about Michael's gourmet room at South Point. I was going to talk about Rebar Davies, and I was going to talk about 00 Pie and Pub, but I know we don't have all day.
Yeah,
so.
we don't have all day, man. You want to tell me about Michael's? I got a backstory on Michael's, and that is I went there once really, really early when I was writing for Las Vegas City Life, and it was in the basement of the Barbary Coast, and at the time, it was probably the most expensive restaurant in all of Las Vegas. We didn't have a lot of super expensive restaurants. The most expensive restaurant that I was eating at the time was in, say, maybe Nobu, but this place was like 1.5 times as expensive as Nobu. I was not impressed with the service. I found the food mediocre. I gave it a shitty review, and the president of the Barbary Coast wrote a letter to the editor of Las Vegas City Life to tell me that with my taste, I should probably just go to their hot dog stand rather than go to fine dining restaurants. So, yeah, man, so I've got some bad blood with that place, but I, of course, wish them well. I hope they're doing well. So you tell me, do you like it more than I liked it?
Probably, and I think they definitely addressed the service issues. They have 2 waiters and a busboy for every 5 tables, and you'll be eating from a relish tray and have a stem from a pepper you put on your plate, and while you turn your head, it's gone. So they're really they really work on the service.
Okay, when I was there, by the way, yours is in South Point, right?
Yes, I went to the one in South Point. I'd only been there once before, about almost 10 years prior. A friend invited us to go, and so didn't have to pay the high prices, and he didn't have to pay either because Michael Gahn invited him.
Oh, well then, I would go back for free. How's the place look?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's got a luxurious vibe, rich red walls. Got these oversized red chairs that look like thrones for royalty. So it's a beautiful room. They actually spent over $1 million to bring the door, the stained glass dome, and all those chairs that I mentioned from Barbary Coast.
Okay.
So it's been over 30 plus years. This place has been open in the 2 different locations. But you wouldn't expect this super high-end gourmet room to be in South Point, which is
you wouldn't. You're 100% correct, but it was even weirder in fucking Barbary Coast, man. It was really weird there.
I never made it over there then, but but it's very old school. They do a lot of tableside presentations. They do some pyrotechnics with the desserts like Bananas Foster and the Cherries Jubilee, and they make the salads tableside. They have a heated cart with a burner that they heat up the sauces when they bring them. So things that I really enjoyed were the French onion soup gratinée, which is piping hot. It's kind of a challenge to eat because the cheese is so thick and stringy, but it's delicious.
That's how I love me some French onion.
And I had the steak, which prime sirloin steak, super large portion. It was so I could only eat a fourth of it probably.
What are the prices at steaks over there?
I did not see the prices on the menu. They didn't have prices, or maybe no, they didn't actually. So at least the menu I had didn't have
the guest menu, right? In the old days, the women's menu never had prices.
And I don't know if this is still true that they still do that. They don't give you prices on the to the person that's not paying for it, or who they assume is not paying for it.
That's weird. That's very old school, man. That's a very old school thing.
But okay, it was a great meal and a very, very very classy place.
Okay, well, so the Al Mancini official stand on Michael's is that if Bob Barnes likes it, I like it. So all my old grudges are gone.
And I especially like it when I'm not paying for it.
I love things when I'm not paying for them, but I'd like to figure out if they're worth it if I do pay for them. But yeah. Well, thanks, Bob. This is great. Again, you have your article every week on at foodandloathing.vegas. Anything new that you want to tell people to be on the lookout for in the new articles?
Next week, I'm going to write about Butcher and Thief.
Butcher and Thief, okay.
So, which pretty much what I said on this podcast today. But in my column this week, as you mentioned, I have Pin Cow as my pick of the week. I wrote about new menu items at Tomba. I wrote about a new 5 o'clock menu at May Dailies. So you have to be there at 5 o'clock and you get these great prices.
Wow.
There's this new cafe on the Strip. It's an authentic high tea experience that you ride in a bus. You go up and down.
I've seen that fucking thing driving around, man.
Yeah. And I know we're talking about food, but I also do a little entertainment segment. I went to Interstellar Arc at Area 15. It blew my mind.
Okay, I'm trying to get. I want to go.
You wear these VR headsets, and it's like you're way off on another solar system planet and set in the future. But it was so cool. I want to go back.
Okay, can I wear those headsets with my mohawk, or should I keep my hair down that day?
I would keep your hair down that day.
Okay,
actually. I'm trying to think. I can't remember if they go on the top or not. I don't think they do. I think they just go around your eyes.
Okay, I might be able to do that. Okay, so thank you. Definitely all the time. Look for Bob's articles. You're also at adcook.com?
Yes, my monthly beer column is still on AD Cook, and now, as I mentioned previously, it's
and
also
San Diego.
San Diego Brewing News.
Awesome, thanks. I should also let everybody know, listen to Highway Radio Networks. That's Highway Vibe, Highway Country, and what's now being called KNAC FM, which is the old Highway Rock. That's where we do the Neon Feast foodie updates. Every week, it's 2 minutes long, and if you don't listen to those stations, you can go over to highwayradio.com. Also, look for me and Andrew Morgan the first week of February on the CW Las Vegas's ARC show with Chloe Coast. Read me and Andrew at lasvegasadvisor.com. You can find us in some other places. But that's about it for right now. I'm Al Mancini with Bob Barnes, with Rich Johnson on the back end, sending much love and many healing vibes to Gemini Stevens. Huge thanks to you, Bob. Thanks for being here today, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Also, thanks to Dale DeGroff, Walbert Castillo, and Monaco Blanco. And remember, people, life is short and you should make every meal count, so stay hungry.